Modern war looks advanced. Drones fill the sky. Satellites monitor every coordinate. Precision missiles symbolize progress. We live in an era where technology is believed to solve everything fast, clean, measured. The West believes this is the new face of warfare, but the battlefield does not always obey theory, because from behind tree lines, from beneath camouflage nets, from long, patient silence, Old Steel speaks, not as a museum relic, not as historical nostalgia, but as an active weapon, a weapon born before the internet, before GPS, before drones, yet it still fires, still destroys, still forces the enemy to take cover. This is not romance, this is reality, and the name of that weapon is 2S4 Tyulpan. Tyulpan is not conventional artillery. It is not designed for long-range duels. It is not built for rapid exchanges of fire. Tyulpan is a weapon of decision. Caliber: 240 millimeters, a size not meant for warning shots, a size meant to end resistance. One round, one decision. It fires in high arcs, delivering destruction from above, not striking walls, but collapsing roofs, because every bunker has a weakness, and Tyulpan was built to exploit it. It does not chase moving targets. It waits for targets that believe they are safe, and that is where Tyulpan becomes lethal. The Soviet Union did not plan for short wars. They planned for the worst possible war. A long war. A total war. A war against NATO in Europe. NATO built bunkers. The Soviets built their destroyer. The West thought in terms of efficiency. The Soviets thought in terms of certainty. They did not ask, how do we break through quickly? They asked, how do we make collapse inevitable? Tyulpan was born from that question. It was not a frontline weapon. It was a weapon for when air power failed, when conventional artillery failed, when negotiations no longer mattered. It was the final argument, and for the Soviet system, the final argument had to be absolute. Tyulpan is not only large, it is versatile. During the Cold War, it was designed for every scenario, including tactical nuclear fire, approximately 2 kilotons. Not for cities, not for civilian populations, for the battlefield. This is one reason NATO once genuinely feared it, because escalation could arrive without missiles, without aircraft, without strategic warning. The world has changed. Nuclear shells were withdrawn. What remained was the same philosophy. Controlled destruction, extreme precision, smell check, laser-guided munitions, one target, one impact. The Soviets understood early. Precision does not belong to the West. Precision is a tool, and tools belong to those who understand warfare. The Western question is always the same. Why does this weapon never run out? The answer is simple. The Soviet Union did not build small stockpiles. They built arsenals for World War. Tyulpan was rarely used, and precisely because of that, it survived for decades. Modern Russia does not mass-produce new Tyulpans. It reawakens old ones, repaired, refurbished, integrated with modern systems, new radios, new navigation, and new eyes, drones. This is not regression. It is strategic efficiency, using what already exists for missions that remain relevant. NATO believes war is a technological problem. More advanced, more expensive, more complex, new sensors, new platforms, global supply chains. But technology always creates dependency, dependency on air superiority, dependency on networks, dependency on logistics. Russia approaches war differently, not as a technology showcase, but as a test of endurance. Tyulpan does not require total air dominance. It does not depend on perfect satellite coverage. It requires coordinates, time, patience, in concrete cities, in underground fortifications, in static warfare. Western precision is not always enough. Sometimes what matters is not technological elegance, but certainty of destruction. And this is where the West often misreads the battlefield. Drones changed everything. No weapon is truly safe anymore. Tyulpan is no exception. But Russia does not force it into constant use. Tyulpan is employed as a moment weapon, brief deployment, rapid firing, immediate concealment. Drones are not only threats, they are tools for fire correction, for target confirmation, for ammunition efficiency. This adaptation is not perfect, but it is sufficient. Sufficient for one objective, sufficient for one collapse. Tyulpan is not a dinosaur. It is an old predator that learned how to survive in a new era. Every appearance of Tyulpan is almost always filmed. This is not accidental. This is communication. Modern war does not exist only on the battlefield. It exists on screens. Tyulpan is a symbol that Russia has not exhausted its options, a symbol that history has not been discarded. The West calls this propaganda, but propaganda only works when it reflects reality, and the reality is clear. This weapon is still used, still effective in specific contexts, still psychologically powerful. Symbols work because they are real. From the beginning of the conflict, many Western analysts made one core assumption: that Russia would run out, that old weapons would collapse under new technology, that the war would be short. Those assumptions remain unproven. Because Russia is not fighting to appear modern, Russia is fighting to endure. Tyulpan is a small example of that miscalculation. This war is not about who is most advanced, it is about who is prepared for the long war. Tyulpan is not the future, but it refuses to become the past. Because war does not move in straight lines, the new does not always replace the old. Sometimes the old survives because it remains relevant, still useful, still feared. And perhaps the most important question is not, why does Russia still use old weapons? But have we become too confident that technology always wins? This video is not meant to celebrate destruction. It is not meant to justify war. It is an invitation to think together about how warfare evolves, about how assumptions fail, about how history continues to shape the present. Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's discuss without shouting, without empty slogans, with analysis. If you believe this kind of analysis matters, not fast, not sensational, but deep, consider subscribing, enabling notifications, and sharing this video. It helps the channel continue delivering long-form geopolitical analysis rarely discussed elsewhere. Disclaimer: this content is military and geopolitical analysis. It does not endorse violence. It does not promote conflict. It does not represent any political affiliation. War always brings suffering, and understanding war is meant to increase awareness of its consequences.